I have to start by saying that we all sit here today because there is River Yamuna. There is London because there is Thames. There is Varanasi because there is Ganga. We humans, we all came to rivers and we developed our civilizations around rivers. And today, can you just put on the... I am going to speak about this basin called Ganga Basin, which today is dry and dirty. Now next please. Yeah, I'm an explorer at heart, and in 2018, I took a small trip from Delhi to London. It was done in 53 days, and I must have crossed 19 countries and about 50 rivers. Amongst all the rivers we crossed, the dirtiest were Indian rivers, and they too the ones which are most dear to us, the Ganga and the Yamuna. Incidentally, they also figure amongst the top 10 polluted rivers of the world. Now, this is what Ganga Basin looks like, and it's so important to India that in Ganga Basin is the world's most populous basin, not only today, for 2000 years. It's the most populous basin. Almost half of Indian population stays in Ganga Basin. 1/3 of India's surface water is in Ganga Basin, and 40% of India's GDP is generated from the Ganga Basin. So the rivers of Ganga, Yamuna, and all the supporting rivers, they are the ones which make Ganga Basin. And I have to tell you that this basin is under very large threat, which means India is under very large threat. Right. Now, after that 2018 trip, I realized that I must not, as a global citizen, just watch things go the way they're going. And me and my team, we decided to know and learn about Ganga and Yamuna. In the year of 2020 and 21, for 6 months we walked both banks of Ganges. We spoke to people, we saw the river, we planted trees, we measured pollution. And from Gangotri to Ganga Sagar, on both banks of Ganga, we walked for almost 7 months in the COVID year. I had no motorcycling to do, I had no exploration to do, so we walked the river. And we learned that no more time can be wasted, and we have to act. As a global citizen, a lot is happening about the climate, about the rivers, about the vanishing water bodies, that we can't just keep quiet. So in last 4 years, after the walk in 2020-21, in 22, we cycled from Gangotri to Ganga Sagar. That was almost 30 days of cycling. Again, speaking to people, colleges, students, planting trees, measuring pollution again. And in just about a week back, we cycled from Yamunotri to Agra. And allow me to say that I have to go to the definition of a river, a dictionary definition, to tell you that all is not well. Well, what the dictionary definition says is a river is a large amount of fresh water flowing continuously across a land. Now, flowing continuously is a very key element for a living river. For a dead river like Yamuna in Delhi, it need not flow. But for a living river, flowing continuously with the fresh water, unstopped, is what a river is. So, what's going wrong with this Ganga basin and what's going wrong? What are we doing wrong? That's something we all need to know as global citizens, and that's the responsibility we have to take because we have the onus of handing over a good climate, environment, rivers, water to the future generations. It's our duty. The first is the global warming. And in the global warming, you know that North Pole and South Pole is melting. There's also a third pole, the Himalayas. This is another place where maximum amount of fresh water is frozen in the form of snow and ice, and it's giving rise to lots of rivers on both sides of Himalayan ranges towards China, towards India, towards Central Asia, towards Pakistan. A whole lot of rivers are actually emanating from this wonderful third pole. And the studies tell you that the third pole is melting at a lot bigger pace than the other two poles. So Gangotri and Yamunotri, which are the source of the Ganga basin, are actually receding. This particular picture here is from Hindustan Times, and it tells you in last, say, 90 odd years, the glacier has melted faster than it has melted in 2000 years. So you have melting glaciers. This I told you already. We have the distinction of having our two favorite and most revered rivers. We call them Ma Ganga and Ma Yamuna, Ma Ganga Ji and Ma Yamuna Ji. Both of them have almost vanished when they come to the plains. So, what could not be done in a million years, we have done it in 90 years. The river brought up our civilization for millions of years, and that's why we are here. And in 90 years, we almost killed both these rivers, whatever be the narrative being peddled. But that's the truth of 260 continuous days being on the river, right from the glaciers to the ocean. Now, once the rivers come down from the higher mountains and the glaciers, we build dams on them. Now, industrial revolution and modernization and the development required these dams because we needed electricity for running our industries. Now, those were 100 years back. Now, these dams, they stop a river from flowing, and therefore river lose its natural characteristic to clean itself. And when you stop rivers from flowing from the top mountains, the riparian land downstream, the whole ecosystem vanishes. Dolphins almost vanished. Ghadial almost vanished. The efforts of the government in the last 5 years have brought some things back. The COVID did more benefit than what we did in 10 years to the river. So, moment we stop interfering with them, the river has capability to rejuvenate by itself. But the point is, if you stop the river from flowing, well, the civilization down the line is not going to survive because river has its own purpose in terms of underground water, in terms of the communities based on them. For example, Nishad community, it's a community which used to catch fishes and used to make its living from it. That community has vanished from the banks of Ganga. And when you have these indicators, you know that river has stopped being a river. Now, Ganga basin, that is Ganga, Yamuna and its other rivers, have 900 plus places where the river water is stopped for various usage and the river doesn't flow. Ganga also has a magical property called it cleanses its water 20 times faster than any other river. And it's got a virus called bacteriophage. which has capacity to clean river 20 times faster. So if it's allowed to flow with its own pace, Ganges has power to clean. That's not there in Yamuna, and that's not there in any other river in the world. And it's not that it was never there. 6 rivers in the world had this quality of bacteriophage, of cleansing the impurities of a river through this virus called bacteriophage. Now it's left only in Ganga, and now it's left out of the 6 streams which join and make Ganga, it's left in only 2 of them. It's a beautiful, beautiful river, which we know from our history, that it's got cleansing powers. But these dams and barrages, when you stop it from flowing, well, all that capacity is lost. Now, I have to tell you, when we were moving on Ganges, by the time you reach Kanpur, there is actually no Ganga water left in it. So all those people who are taking holy bath in Ganges at Prayagraj and Varanasi are actually taking bath in Chambal's water, and we have to thank these dacoits of Chambal for once, because they are the ones because of whom no industries could ever come up in that area. And Chambal therefore remained clean. So Chambal joins Yamuna, which is dead till Agra, and then it goes to Prayagraj, where it joins Ganga. And when you take dip in the Prayagraj or Varanasi, you're actually taking dip in a dacoit saved water and call it, Ganga Snan, right? So thanks to these dacoits of Chambal for keeping our river clean, for not allowing interference to happen with the natural course of rivers. Coming to Yamuna. Now, Yamuna comes from Yamunotri to Yamuna Nagar, and thereafter we have a Paschimi Yamuna Canal, which takes away all its water. And then Panipat dumps all its industrial waste into Yamuna. Then Sonipat dumps all of it. Then at Wazirabad we again take away some of the Yamuna. And then whole of Delhi NCR dumps its entire sewage from your toilets into Yamuna. Okay? And thereafter, in Vrindavan, when they take Snan, you know what they're taking Snan in. Okay? In Agra, again, it's the same issue. All that capital shifting by the Mughals to Agra on a beautiful Yamuna river, well, it no more exists. It's all full of sewage. So you can see that people can cross Ganges today on feet without worrying. Now let's come to all this water which is not available. What will happen? Let's take an example of Delhi. Let's say Delhi requires, there's data there, but as an example, let's say Delhi requires 11 bottles of water for its needs, drinking needs or use needs. We are only able to supply 9 bottles. Out of these 9 bottles, 8 bottles of water actually comes from outside, from Haryana, from Haridwar. A full canal comes in here to feed water, and still we are not able to meet 2 glasses of water. Another 25 years, we will need 14 bottles of water. As of today, we are only able to supply 9 bottles of water. So water shortage is a key thing. All these water tankers you see all around you in Gurgaon and in Noida, everywhere, is all they're early telltale signs of a disaster to happen. Now let's come to aquifers. Now aquifers was your insurance that at whatever stage the top water gets finished, we are going to extract water out of the aquifers. So what we have done is we burnt our insurance policy pretty early. In 1950s and 60s, we went into an amazing revolution called Green Revolution. And in Green Revolution, by thousands of numbers, the tube wells were created. And these tube wells continue to extract water out of the earth. Today, all these tube wells are going dry. The wells have gone dry. The ponds have gone dry. We have stopped the river up there. So no more water is coming here. So aquifers will last just about 20 more years. So here we have a situation where 60% of Indian districts, 60% of Indian districts have either polluted or no groundwater. That means the tube wells are digging deeper and deeper and taking out water. I'll also tell you a small story. When we were walking this Ganga, we went to a district called Bhojpur. Now, Bhojpur in India, I'm not sure how many know, has got the highest number of per capita cancer cases. And that's because of the arsenic poisoning. What's happened is, when they were taking water from the surface, they were healthy. As they continue to dig deeper into the earth, it's the arsenic layer which is actually coming up, and they have lesions all over their body, and finally, a whole lot of them actually die. So the story is, the women there who get married, they actually are marrying to become a widow, because sooner or later, the prolonged use of water which their husband has been having is going to catch up with them. Similarly, when they have to bear children, they go to their Maika so that they don't have to bring up children in arsenic affected water. Right? There are many more such stories. Because of shortage of time, we can't say them here. But I have to tell you that aquifers in India are overdrawn. We burnt our insurance policy, and it's not a good news. Okay, now to summarize. So Yamunotri, Gangotri glaciers are melting and going away fast. Your rivers, because of damming, have been dried out. So even on Ganga basin, where farming used to happen without water, that means Ganga used to, allow the farming to happen without having to take out water, have got deep bowels, so the water is vanishing there. The water aquifers, as I said, is depleting very fast pace. Water demand is multiplying. Each year, millions of people leave their villages and come to cities, and that's a pressure on rivers and waters. And what are we doing? Thankfully, we began to walk, which I have walked, and talk. And that's the start of the conscious level a global citizen has to see, that we cannot overuse the natural resources. So it's a red alert. There is too much at stake for your grandchildren and great grandchildren. They will not have the rivers, water, environment, climate which we have been having. And time to act is now. I would request we raise the voice in our own hearts first about the rivers. And this, as a global citizen, you owe it to your children. Thank you.